Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a great one for you today. Kamala Harris took her own campaign, went on live television, took a 12 gauge and let it out. She completely destroyed her own campaign on live television. That's it. If you're a supporter of Kamala, I guarantee you by the end of this video, you no longer will be. Because we all have suffered for the last 3.5 years. We've seen an open border. We've seen war start. We've seen nuclear threats of nuclear Armageddon for the first time in American history. And guess what? Kamala Harris said it's her fault. She's responsible for it. And we're about to get into that. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're in, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment. What state are you voting Trump 2024 from? Make sure to share the live. Let's get right into it. So first, we're going to watch Kamala Harris just completely destroy her own campaign. So this is on The View this morning.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
So she was asked if you could have done anything different. Would you have done anything different at all? She said, no. I've been part of every single thing that Joe Biden has passed. I was there with him. I was the right-hand woman. And she said, I wouldn't change anything.
President Biden during the past 4 years.
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, something huge happened today. Let me take this off the screen for a moment. Something huge happened this morning. So do you guys remember when last week, I believe it was on Thursday, when Kamala Harris went to Michigan? The moment she took the stage, Joe Biden did something that he's never done before in his last 3.5 years of being president. He stepped foot into the White House press conference briefing room with Karine Jean-Pierre and held his very first open press conference in the White House briefing room. So all the cameras, CNN, MSNBC, everyone who was live streaming Kamala Harris's rally in Michigan, they had to turn off the live feeds from Kamala and point to Joe Biden instead. And in that speech, Joe Biden said, Kamala Harris was always my right-hand woman. She was the final voice of reason in every decision I've made. So while she is trying to distance herself from him, not talk about him, not bring him to any rallies, she wants him to just shut up. He, knowing she's stepping on the stage right now, walks into the press conference. Everyone's shocked. What is he going to talk about? And he comes out, steals the spotlight just to say she's responsible for everything. But it gets bigger. Today, while Kamala Harris was on The View, Joe Biden held his second press conference ever. So instead of people watching The View, they were listening to him. And he could just relay the message again. There's not a single thing that I have done in the last 4 years that Kamala did not approve, that Kamala was not next to me for. This is huge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you this. Trump got a huge victory in election court cases in the state of Michigan. By the way, before we continue, I want to give a big shout out and sponsor of today's video and the channel overall, and that is Verity Metals. I go to them for all my gold and silver questions. They protect your IRAs, 401ks, your retirement savings, or the little cash you have on the side. I believe in gold and silver. This is constitutional money. This is biblical money. This is historic money. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is just another form of currency in your hands. Matthew, the owner of Verity Metals, is a personal good friend of mine. He's got this month a bunch of deals and freebies going on for people that call in off the show. Free silver on qualifying orders when you tell them Vlad sent you. So you get to support the show. You support a Patriot-owned company that donates to the Trump campaign regularly. And he's a good friend of mine who's a Patriot. You're not supporting some woke company. You're supporting truth and a Patriot-owned company. So go to VerityMetals.com or call them today at 480-717-9081. Get free silver and qualifying orders when you mention Vlad. Links are down below in the description. Let's check this out. Breaking. A Michigan judge just ruled against the Democrat Secretary of State, Joycelyn Benson, for instructing clerks to count mail-in ballots without verification. Even Benson admitted that her actions could lead to fraud. So, the Secretary of State said, you can count the ballots, that you can't verify the signatures or the addresses or the chain. A judge, so the RNC and Trump's team, they went to a judge in the state and said, no, this is wrong. And the judge ruled, no, if there's no signature verification, if you can't match the address, you cannot count those ballots. Benson's election procedure manual for the 2024 election made a suggestion instead of a requirement for election workers to verify the authenticity of absentee ballots by comparing stub numbers. State law says if the number printed on an absentee voter's ballot stub agrees with the number printed on the return envelope, then the ballot must be tabulated. She completely ignored this and wanted to open more avenue for fraud, but the judge saw right through it. In fact, defendants admitted during hearing that they do not track instances of mismatched ballots or ballots with missing stubs. The current manual misstates the law, and accordingly, plaintiffs are entitled to immediate declaratory relief on this sub-issue. The court will order defendants to update the manual to reflect the statutory requirement placed on election inspectors with respect to comparing ballot stub and return envelope numbers under MCL, the law number. The amount of times courts have declared Joycelyn Benson's election manuals to be unlawful is astounding. She is quickly becoming my #1 draft pick for America's most corrupt Secretary of State. So, ladies and gentlemen, another huge win for election and election integrity. But before we're done with today's live, there is something I want to show you. We go to political polls. Wait, not that one. This is what the map by election polls, political polls, is looking. Trump to receive 281 electoral votes if the election were today. Harris 257. So Trump can actually lose Wisconsin. He can lose Michigan and still win. But not only that, Trump can actually lose Arizona and still win. As long as he gets Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, Trump takes the election. He takes the election. But when we look at Arizona, Trump is at 50%. Trump is at 48%. In Pennsylvania, Trump is at 50%. I mean, Kamala today, so yesterday, 1 hour, they posted that Kamala in Pennsylvania is at 50%. Trump is at 46%. But I want to tell you something about the polls. The resistance, right? Scott Presler, his internal polling is showing that Trump is leading over Kamala by over 10 points in the state of Pennsylvania. Trump is doing his biggest rallies in Pennsylvania. Elon Musk is in Pennsylvania. Tulsi Gabbard, Kennedy, they're all in Pennsylvania rooting for Trump to win. We need Pennsylvania bad. We can still win this election without Pennsylvania. But but Kamala, that's a very important state for her. For her, without Pennsylvania, there's no outs. Trump has outs without Pennsylvania. She doesn't. So the money that the Democrats are pouring into the state of Pennsylvania is ridiculous. If you know people that live there, call them. Make sure they're registered to vote and they vote early. If you live in a different state, Arizona, wherever, Florida, if you got early voting, go vote early, please. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, thank you so much for your time. I want to keep this one short, simple, to the point. So again, what did we learn today? Joe Biden hates Kamala Harris. He is undermining her at every possible chance he gets. Number two, she went on The View and said that when she looks at the last 3.5 years, there is nothing that she would change about the Biden-Harris administration. Every law, every legislator, every executive order, every dollar sent to Ukraine and Israel, and everybody gets some money. She would still do it. She would do it again. So voting for Kamala Harris is literally voting for Biden administration 2.0. And last, Trump gets a huge, huge victory in the state of Michigan. We want every single state. We want to win 49 out of 50 states. Trump is doing a rally in California this Saturday. I'm still thinking if I'm going to go or not. If I want to do the 3-hour drive, but we'll see. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. But again, a big shout out to Verity Metals. Contact them today. Protect your money. Here's how much I believe in American Silver Eagles. Get you some. Even if it's not from Verity Metals, go to a local pawn shop. Go to a local dealer. Get some. This really does help you protect your money. But if you go to Verity, you know you're going to a Patriot-owned company and you support the show. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you. Make sure to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Trump 2024.